All right, everybody, welcome. I'm Brandon Bruce. I'm a co-founder of Uncat, and thrilled to be joined by Jane and Nick from Forwardly. We're going to show you both of our apps today, but first, just a couple quick announcements. One is that we will be doing a giveaway of the ScanSnap scanner. We'll do that at the end of the webinar, so definitely stick around. Those are pretty awesome scanners. You might have seen them if you were at some of the accounting and bookkeeping conferences for the last few years at QuickBooks Connect. They were at Woodard Scaling New Heights. I think they're at a conference this week. If you will be going to QuickBooks Connect, feel free to mention that in the chat. I know the Forwardly team will be there. I'll be there representing Uncat, and I know that ScanSnap's also going to have a booth, so you can swing by. And if you win the ScanSnap, say thank you. And if you didn't win, you can go talk to them about getting one because they're super useful. So we'll do that toward the end. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about what we've built. And Jane, I'd love to introduce you to talk about Forwardly for a minute and introduce Nick, and then we'll get into the demos.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Brandon. So yeah, I mean, thank you so much for joining. It's great to be here. And don't forget to share where you're calling in from in the chat as well, so we can all say hi and get to know each other. Overall, I mean, what we're here for is to talk about financial agility, you know, having more control over your books and over your small business's finances and over your client's small business finances. So here with me today, I have Nick Jandy. He's the Forwardly CEO. Long story short, what Forwardly does is it helps you get paid in about, well, 20 seconds is our goal. And I think I'll pass it over to Nick. Take over from here.
Thank you, Jane. And I think I'll start with sharing my screen. And are you guys able to see my screen yet? Or no, not yet, I believe.
Not yet, but yeah, we'll just do a couple of quick slides because our product's a little interesting. Some of you might be very confused about how to get paid in about 20 seconds. So we're just going to show you a really quick, just a really quick backgrounder on why that's possible and how it's possible before we get into a demo. Because the demo is very quick. Nick, did you want me to share it?
No, I can share it. I did made some changes, and I just want to make sure. Right. Okay. Here's the window. Okay. Can you see blank screen, or what do you see right now?
Right now, we're seeing the business list.
Are you able to see the screen now or no? Not yet.
Yes, we can. We see the Forwardly business list, except now it's gone.
Oh,
yeah.
Not the right one.
No worries.
Give me 1 second again.
Sure.
Technical difficulties are always fun because I'd still take them. I'd take like an hour of technical difficulties over an hour plane ride. You know, at least
sure.
where I can stretch.
I see. I believe now you guys should be able to see my main screen.
There it is. We see the slides.
You can.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. And today's I'm happy to share the demo of Forwardly, an instant payment app. We are the first app in the US market based on the new payment system that are available from Federal Reserve called FedNow. And the clearinghouse called RTP. Collectively, we call these payment methods as instant payments. And I'm going to share a bit of background information and how technology evolved. And at the end, I'm going to do a quick demo of the app as well. All right, so I'm the CEO and co-founder. I worked in the accounting industry for over 20 years. We built one of the largest IT consulting company providing services to accountants and bookkeepers, and we sold that business in 2019. And now we founded Forwardly, an instant payment platform for small businesses. So as you know, currently we accept payment through ACH checks and credit cards. We just had a webinar yesterday at CPA Academy. Again and again, we are finding a lot of us are still using checks and ACH, and we believe the new technology, FedNow or instant payment, it's going to replace checks and ACH over time. and maybe they're going to take market share from credit cards because they are so expensive. You're paying close to 2.5, 3 to 3.5%. I have seen if you're accepting those kind of premium cards like American Express or those ones. Checks, we know they're very slow, very expensive. ACH is a technology that's almost 50 years old. Over the time, we have same day ACH, 2-day ACH kind of a band-aid kind of solutions, but they're still taking a long time. Like standard ACH, if you are using any kind of a kind of proposal software or other third-party apps, you might notice that some payments that they send to you, it comes in 6 or 7 days. Sometimes it can show up in 2 days, but many times we have seen again and again that the payment took 6, 7 days, and some of our clients they moved from those platforms to us, just because of the delays. Because delays cause problems, cash flow problems. We know 82% of businesses they fail because of cash flow problems, and these slow payments they add to those problems. And survey after survey, even Visa did a survey, and 82% of businesses did want faster payments, and we have it now. And even though we are a bit behind here in the world, like UK is using instant payments for over, I guess, 10 years or so, and they launched in 2007, but it took them some time. And India, Brazil, and Australia, 70-80% of the market or business is done through instant payment. We were on the webinar, and one guy, he visited South Africa, and people there were surprised to know that we still here use checks because every payment was instant there. But now we have it here, and so here's a bit more information about the technology we have. Like I shared, we have two platforms. One is called RTP, and that is from the largest banks in the US, like Bank of America or Chase. And then we have FedNow, that's from Federal Reserve, and it's there to support smaller banks. RTP has been around us for many years, but banks they're not been promoting it so far. You may not have seen any kind of RTP option on your bank website. It's hidden somewhere on their website. But with FedNow here, it's going to be available to everyone, to smaller banks, to fintechs, and everyone here. And this is the technology that we bring on our platform. This is the only technology that we support. Anytime the payment is sent to you, you will have it within 20 seconds in your bank account. You may not have seen anything like that before. So this chart here, small chart, it showed how the speed is compared to ACH or checks and the instant payment that is being used at Forwardly. And some information about how our platform works. We made it very simple, very easy. You connect your accounting solution like QuickBooks Online or Xero. These are the two platforms we support today, and we are going to support more platforms in coming months as well. Once you connect your accounting system, we fetch all your accounts receivable, outstanding invoices that need to be paid. And we ask you to connect the bank account where you would like to receive your money in. And you connect your bank account information, and there we collect some business information like your EIN information, or if you are a sole proprietor, we need social security number. And that's it, and that will get you going. And you make a payment request, and payment will come to you as soon as it is paid within 20 seconds, like I shared before. We also have auto payments where once a client authorizes you for future payments, any future invoice that's created in QuickBooks, it would be automatically collected on the due date from your clients. And now I'm going to share a demo of the app. Give me a second, please. Oh,
As
right.
you load that, Nick, I'll simply share as a fellow attendee to everybody else learning more about Forwardly. I think it's fascinating just the time it takes to get paid through some of the other methods, right? Like,
That,
I mean, not only is it important, especially for small businesses, right, where it's like getting, I mean, for any size business, but especially a small one, getting that cash to flow in so that you can put it to work is super important. If that gap extends from, like you said, 20 seconds to 2 days to 10 days, that could be the difference between meeting payroll or rent payments or other important things. So anyway, that's what resonated with me as an entrepreneur, is like, yeah, the speed to getting paid is like vital. The same as it is controlling the time it takes you to pay your vendors, right? To make sure that they're satisfied. So
that's
anyway,
right.
carry on.
As you know, Brandon, in case you are low on cash and you're facing some kind of cash crunch, and you hear from the client the check is still in the mail. I'm sure all of us have heard it, and that 3-4 days of delay kind of could feel like a lifetime, a very very long time.
Right.
And the good thing about this payment method is it's like Venmo or Cash App kind of solutions that you might have seen. We don't have any kind of that kind of solution in the B2B domain yet. We are the first solution that is trying to give kind of Venmo kind of experience, so that the money comes to you instantly. You can spend it. You can use it to pay rent, for payroll, for marketing, wherever you want to spend.
Yeah.
All right. So this is our app where when you log in, you connect you add a business, you enter some information here. If you want to connect your accounting system, you can connect your accounting system, or in case you want to skip, you can skip that one too, and you provide us some basic business information about you. And once we have that information, we verify the information is correct with our third-party system, verification system, and then we onboard you for the payments. You can have your own business there. You can add your clients, as many clients as you want to add. And as long as you have their business information and the bank account access, you will be able to receive payments from them. We have a bill payment functionality is also coming next month, where you'll be able to make bill payments to your vendors as well through our system. So let's have a look how system looks like. So on the dashboard, you see all the data here, your chart of accounts, how much balance you have in your accounting system. And because you also connected your bank account, we will show you how much balance you have in your bank account. And if your books are fully reconciled, the numbers should match there. And we also provide you some simple cash flow forecasting, where you can see how the cash position is changing, and some very important insights, if invoices are overdue or bills are overdue, and some insights are coming there too. For example, whether you have enough money in the bank account to pay the upcoming bills that are there. We also have a simple, like I shared, cash flow forecasting, like a daily, weekly, monthly view, and that you can see. But today's focus is about the payment side. So here you see on the how you request a payment. It's very, very simple. Anytime an invoice is created in QuickBooks Online or Xero, we are going to fetch it. We are going to bring it here. If it doesn't show up here, you can sync it by clicking on the top button here. We sync the data automatically every 12 hours or so. So that way you'll be able to, all your invoices will be shown up here. But if you just created an invoice and you need to request a payment, you can push that button and request the payment as well. Here are the bank accounts that you connected where you would like to receive payment, and let's have a quick transaction here. So you request a payment. This is your payer name, and this is the amount that you're receiving, and this is the bank account where the money will be going in. So you add that. You can change the bank account in case you want to by clicking on this button. And here is the feature auto collect. So this option, if you turn it on and your client, if they agree, they authorize it, we are going to pull the money from their bank account on the due date of every invoice that you create in QuickBooks Online. It could be weekly, it could be monthly, quarterly, yearly, whatever option is there, but we do need their authorization. So in this case, I'm going to make a payment request here, and I am going to send that to my client here. So as you can see, we have already sent a payment request to them. So this is how it's going to look like on the other side. Let me bring that screen here, and I'm trying to find. Are you able to see Maple Syrup Company here?
No, it's still showing the same screen, Nick.
It's still showing the same screen. So maybe I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to share it again.
We did have a quick question. Someone Ashley asked in chat. So do you have to have the bank information for your client that is paying you? That's a great question. No, you don't have to have the bank information for your client, because your client is going to be, as you'll see, prompted to attach their banking information to the app and authorize that debit, that ongoing payment. Nick will show you in a moment.
So what happens is when your client, so an email goes to your client, they click on a button, and that brings them to this onboarding screen where I brought you. They will see a screen like this one. We ask them, do they want to use any kind of accounting system? And if they have, they can add it. Otherwise, it's optional. But they do need to provide the bank account information and the business information, what the business name is, and some information. They need to connect the bank account where they are going to make the payments from. We don't share their bank account information with you. You know, we have seen the routing number and account numbers, they're floating around in the emails and in the PDF forms. Those days are gone. You know, if you look at those kind of unauthorized debits from the bank account or the check fraud, that's how it's happening, because people have their account number sitting or shared on the internet or other platforms. But this technology, when you ask them to make a payment and you tell us which bank account you're going to receive the money in, we don't share it with them. When they make the payment, we don't share the which account the payment is coming from. So we keep this data in encrypted form on our platform, on our website, but it's not shared. The only information is shared is the payment is sent to received. Anytime the payment is received, we are going to fully reconcile your accounting system as well. All right, so this is the payer side that we see. We saw that they didn't connect any accounting system. That's fine, but they must have received the payment request that we sent to them. They have a very similar dashboard here. Important thing here to know is we provide you some kind of you can send up to $10,000 in a day, and out of that, $1,500 would be instant payment. How we calculate it based on the data that we see in the accounting system, the relationship, how many invoices were there before, and some kind of financial health check that we do based on the accounting data. But if you need higher limits, please reach out to us. We can manually review your account and we can approve you for higher limits as well. So one piece of information here is for FedNow or instant payment, because the technology is new. So only around 70% bank accounts, they are eligible for this kind of payments today. Over the time, I believe in the next 1-2 years, the numbers are going to increase. But if you don't receive the payment through FedNow or RTP or instant payment, we are going to send the payment to you through same-day ACH. So it will end up in your bank account on the same day or whenever the next business day is. So here, what we are looking at the payer side, your client side. Very similar screen, very similar setup here. And they can click on they can look at some details, how the invoice is looking like in QuickBooks. We are fetching directly from QuickBooks Online for your record, and they can click on this button, Pay Now. Here they want to pay from this bank account ending with 1642, and they want to make a payment here. And here are two options for them. They can provide you an authorization that okay, I authorize you, my accountant, to bill me every invoice that I'm going to send you, but I can revoke that authorization anytime in the future if that happens, if that happens. And other option here is if they don't agree, if they don't want to give you pre-authorization for future payments, then they can make just one-time send payment option. So I'm gonna maybe I'll use the send payment. So anytime they send, let's say they don't want to authorize you, they want to send you this kind of a request. So we're gonna send them a one-time passcode here to their mobile phone number. So just so you know, everyone on our platform, they have their own account, so they can log into their own account. And you need not to share the bank account information with anyone, not even your staff. They need not to share that information with anyone. So that way we can keep you on the higher security level. So only authorized people, they can make the payment. So I'm gonna enter this one, and that's it. And the payment is being made, and that's how the technology works. As you can see here, the payment is being processed right now. So that's the way our technology works. You can add, this is the, I believe, this is a pair side. But if we go to the other side, I don't know, are you able to see what kind of, do you see dashboard right now, or what do you see, guys, right now?
Just the payments bills paid.
Oh, okay.
For maple syrup.
Let me share that.
Yeah, it's hard to show a product demo with so many different logins.
Yeah, next time, I guess we're gonna do a little bit better so that I'm used to Zoom and Teams, so this is the first time I'm doing on Google, so that's why it's been a bit tricky here.
You're good. They're all a little bit different.
Yeah, they're very similar, but they're a bit different. And so here is your side as an accountant, and you can add other team members here. So you can, let's say you have few clients and you want to give your team access to different clients, you can add them here as well. And that's the demo. We had. Let's see what happened to the invoices. Give me 1 second, and let's see where it is then. Anyone, any questions, Jane? Did we receive any questions so far?
Yeah, I answered a few in the chat, but one of the questions we had from Ashley was, how is this different than Bill? I explained in one way how Bill doesn't support instant payment functionality, but did you want to expand on that?
Yeah, if you look at Bill.com or any other platform, you will notice that they don't have instant payment. They might support checks or standard ACH, but they don't support those kind of instant payment functionality. So you can see here on my screen here that payment has been received and it's synced to the accounting system. Yeah. So instant payment, Bill.com, I don't know if they intend to bring it on their network or no, but like the technology is new, it's a bank-to-bank payment transfer happening. So it's a kind of super highway between banks and Federal Reserve. They left it to the company like Forwardly to build solutions on top of it. So we built this kind of account receivable kind of software. And like I shared, we have bill payment are also coming next month, where you'll be able to schedule bill payments. You'll be able to approve them. There will be simple approval workflow. based on the limits and the roles your team members have. We're planning to launch it by mid of next month, and we'll be happy to demo you those kind of solution as well. So it's going to be full AR, AP kind of solutions, a great solution to improve cash flow. And I think, Jen, we have other slides that we need to do after this demo, right? Give me 1 second. I'm going to do that one too.
Yeah, we have a couple more slides and then one more as well for the winner at the end. So I've hidden that one temporarily. We'll pop back in at the end to share that when we figure out who it is.
I see. So pricing, our pricing is very simple. We charge for each transaction, and it's 1% plus $1 per transaction, and it's capped at the $10. So maximum, even if you pay $10,000, you are never going to pay us $10 per transaction. It's way cheaper compared to other payment systems that you see out there. And sometimes it matches with the standard. Some companies we know they're charging close to standard ACH, where they keep your money for 6 or 7 days. Because what happens, guys, so that everyone knows, anytime money moves, and if you look at a company like ADP, they do payroll processing, and they made more than $500 million last year through interest payment, just because accountants or business owners, they have to send them money 2 or 3 days early, sometimes 5 days early, because there was a long weekend. So money sits in a bank account earning interest for ADP or other third-party system. So when you are receiving your money after 4 days or 3 days, so someone is earning interest on that payment, on slow payment methods. So our technology reallocating that kind of value back to your business. Someone push the button to make you the payment, and the money will be delivered and deposited into your bank account instantly. And for the banks that don't support instant payment today, you are going to get the same day ACH payment for free, no cost, because we understand, the bank, your bank is not ready to receive instant payment, so we make it free for you. At the end, we would like you to sign up with us, ask for a demo, more information. We'll be happy to share. There's no monthly fee, no cost to involve. Auto payment feature is powerful. We are going to automatically collect the payment, and hopefully, when we have seen situation, a business owner does a great job and they put the best effort, but there would be someone who doesn't want to pay the bill. Let's avoid those kind of situations with the auto payment kind of feature. And great thing is this technology works 24/7, 365 days in a year. So forget about the weekends or after hours. Oh, I am going to get my money on Monday and before I can do my payroll. Those days are gone. Now instant payments are here. All right. Any other questions, Jane, that we received?
Fantastic, Nick. Oh,
Yes.
you're muted, Jane. There you go.
we did get one from Ashley again, who said, "Are we going to be expanding your integrations with other accounting systems?" I did say yes, and she asked about Sage Intacct.
Yes, Sage Intacct is on our roadmap, and we are planning to add integrations to that one pretty soon. I would say by end of this year, or maybe before that. That's definitely on our roadmap.
Yeah. And then we also had one from Bob who asked, first, what are the fees? But he asked that while you were explaining the fees. So then he asked a follow-up, are fees deducted from the deposit or collected separately?
Yeah, that's the best part. We collect fee from you later on a monthly basis. We don't deduct the fees. The goal here is to keep the reconciliation simple. Even though we are going to reconcile your QuickBooks or Zero records right away, that we receive the payment against this invoice. But let's say you invoice from a client $500. We are going to deposit full amount of $500 in your bank account. So there will be no deduction like credit cards. that's messy to reconcile and look at the fee and what happened, those kind of things. So it's a one-to-one entry that you will see there.
That makes sense. Very cool.
All right.
All right.
Feel free to share your questions in the chat if you have them. If you have any more or want to get in touch, you can always reach out and I'll keep answering them. I'll be here the whole time, but excited to see the Uncat product demo next.
Yeah, for sure. Let's
Okay.
jump in. So I will share on my side. There we go. So I'll give you a quick overview of Uncat, and then I'll show you a quick demo. And thankfully, it's a super easy application to use and get started with, so it'll just take a few minutes. But what we've seen through the course of running Uncat over the last 3+ years is that the average small business has about $10,000 in uncategorized transactions every month, which was surprising to us. It's higher than we thought it was going to be. But it makes sense. There's some businesses that have less in total dollar value per month than that, but certainly that have a lot more as well. You can imagine a construction company, for example, that's buying trucks. Sometimes they'll have several $100,000, even upwards of $1 million, and ask my accountant, because those trucks, we don't know which jobs they're with, et cetera. So we've seen a lot of amazing use cases where accountants and bookkeepers are using Uncat to get responses back from their clients about uncategorized transactions. What is it? We sync with QuickBooks Online, as well as QuickBooks Desktop and Xero, and possibly with other platforms in the future. So let us know what you're using in the chat. And we'd love to get the ideas for where we can expand. But we really launched because my co-founder, Adam, was sending spreadsheets out to all of his clients every month, asking them, what were these transactions all about? And he started to wonder, could there be a better way? Could we sync those uncategorized transactions into an app, get responses back from clients, and then categorize the transactions and sync them all back into QuickBooks in his case? And so that's where Uncat came from. Obviously, Uncat is short for uncategorized transactions. We've got about 15,000 users on the platform now. Last year, they categorized about 175,000 transactions. So it's a very robust, high volume application. So if you've got clients with dozens or hundreds of uncategorized transactions a month, you can certainly use Uncat for that. If you're a solo firm that's got a dozen or a couple dozen clients, or if you're a big top 100 firm with hundreds or thousands of clients, we range the gamut. So you can use Uncat with as many clients as you like. We've got a lot of nice reviews on the QuickBooks App Store and Capterra. We're presently in the developer growth program with Intuit, which has given us a lot of great access to the folks there, both on the technical and the marketing side. And so we've got a great relationship with them. We will be at QuickBooks Connect in a couple months. So if you're there, certainly swing by the booth and say hello. And if you get there early enough, you'll get one of our coveted cat beanie babies, which tend to go fast during these conferences. Popular sources of uncategorized transactions. This is probably not surprising to anybody on the call. We see through our system a lot of expenses at Amazon, Walmart, Target, Costco, Home Depot, Lowe's, essentially big box stores where you can buy almost anything. Amazon has 12 million SKUs. So it's difficult to know what each of those items might be used for. And so frequently, even with a receipt, we have to ask a client, what is that? And once we can find out the nature of the transaction, we can then properly categorize it. Similarly, and I'm sure this resonates with the folks from Forwardly who do a great job of being able to auto-reconcile with QuickBooks and Xero, but we see a lot of deposits from these payment apps like Venmo and PayPal and Square and Stripe and Cash App. And of course, just cash. A lot of trades, businesses get paid in cash. And so often bookkeepers and accountants were having to ask our clients, what was that you received through Venmo? Was that a reimbursement from a friend for dinner? Was that a payment for one of your products or services for your business? To be able to put it in the right category. Why categorize transactions? This is a pretty rhetorical question for this audience, but the obvious kind of off the top answers are to build accurate budgets, compare to actuals, and generate meaningful financial reports. It's very much a garbage in, garbage out platform. If you leave a lot in an account called miscellaneous or ask my accountant or uncategorized expense or suspense, then it's difficult to know how well, in fact, that small business is doing. Maybe they're overspending on office supplies. Maybe they're overspending on marketing. And it's hard to know if all those transactions are in a big anonymous bucket. Similarly, having a lot of money in an Ask My Accountant account can frequently trigger an audit, because it's like, well, what are those? You need to find out. And so Uncat will help you to get everything categorized so you can file accurate taxes and certainly get all the allowable deductions and credits that you might be allowed. Fun example, of course, would be like a big meal out. Business owner might have taken their family, they might have taken a client, or they might have taken their engineering team. Same dinner, 3 different tax treatments. In the case of the engineering team, if they all talk shop during dinner, that could be an R&D tax credit. So you've got some options as far as when you get the answers back, then you can categorize and sync back into QuickBooks or Xero. Uncat typically replaces the process of exporting reports from your GL and sending them to your clients, mostly by email or sharing of a Google Sheet. I used to do that when I was a business owner and fill out that sheet. Spreadsheets are awesome. We use them all the time in business. I'm sure everybody on the call uses them, but they're not awesome necessarily at syncing data, and they're certainly not great at like permissions. I want one user to just see this part of the sheet and another user to just see this tab and only be able to do certain things. And so that's why writing software, that's why we created Uncat, is to be able to have that control over how we interact with clients and get their responses back and capture attachments, right? Spreadsheets are not the best at capturing files and then be able to sync them to another platform. So hence the need for software. This is how it works in a nutshell. So we sync those transactions in from the GL, from QuickBooks, notify the client automatically, they respond, and they can upload receipts and other attachments. You can review their responses in our app and then categorize, and everything syncs back into QuickBooks. So super easy. Easy to get started as well, and I'll show you that process in a second. It's $5 a month per client file. So it's an inexpensive app that will save you hours and hours of time. So it's certainly worth your while to start a free trial, check it out, make sure it works for you and for your clients. Unlimited transactions, unlimited bookkeeping and accountant users. So if you work in a firm context or have folks work on your team, you can invite them, no additional cost. Similarly, under each client, you can invite as many users as you want. So it may not just be the business owner. They may have a bunch of sales directors that you also want to invite and have them answer for their own transactions, and you can do that. You can customize Uncat, and I'll also show you that. All right, let's jump into the demo, and I'll show you around. So here's our homepage. This is uncat.com. I hope you like our logo. I think our graphic designer did a great job years ago designing it. So the Uncat, if you take the U and turn it 90 degrees, it becomes a question mark. And that's because these are mystery transactions. We have to ask the client for more information. A few weeks ago, someone also said, I love what you did with the U in your logo, how you made it a cat tail. So now I say it's also a cattail because it resonates with our brand. We love fixing uncategorized transactions. We also love cats. So from here on the homepage, you just get started for free. You will create an account with Uncat, then sign in to QuickBooks Online, for example, and then you'll be able to choose the first client file that you want to connect. And then the last step is just put in your client's email address. So let your client know first that you're going to invite them to Uncat. And then when you put in their email address, we're going to shoot them an invite on your behalf that says, hey, your accounting professional needs information back on certain transactions. Please click here to go straight into your Uncat dashboard. And for us, that's a super, super important process, because for the client and for you, but especially for the client, we want to make sure that it's as easy to use as possible. And that helps boost engagement and adoption. So the client doesn't have to create an account. They don't have to set a password. They certainly don't have to have a login to QuickBooks. They don't have to download any apps. All they have to be able to do is click the link that we send them in that email, and it's going to take them straight in to their Uncat dashboard, which by default is going to look something like this. So this is a demo org that I've set up called Jungle Cat Accounting, and we invited our client, Tiger Incorporated. And so here the Tiger user can come in and they can see here are 4 transactions in a very familiar spreadsheet ledger format. And based on this one, they could explain the PayPal transaction. Oh yeah, we got paid $500 by the client. We did some custom work to get them set up. And then here's a Salesforce subscription for 10 users of the Enterprise Edition. And here's that meal at Applebee's that I described earlier. And here's Amazon. We bought several items, and they're all for the new office that we're expanding to down the street. So when they provide all of these descriptions, and optionally, you can click on the little paperclip icon to add an attachment. That's typically a receipt for an expense. Then when the user clicks save, all of that information is going to sync into QuickBooks. So the description goes to the description on that transaction in QuickBooks. The attachment goes to the attachment on that transaction in QuickBooks. The transactions will then disappear from Uncat because now the client has done their homework, so they can go back to growing their business. And then we'll send you a daily digest email. So you'll get an email that says, hey, you have 7 clients that have updated 84 transactions, let's say, for example. And that way you'll know to come into your dashboard. And what you'll see is, here are a couple transactions color-coded in yellow where the client has provided a description and possibly also a receipt. And based on their description, you can then choose to categorize the transaction. So here's the full chart of accounts pulled in from QuickBooks for that client. And then beyond that, you can also do other things that you might do in QuickBooks, like assign a class to that transaction. Or you may come over and assign a location or tax or billable or customer or choose a vendor. So all the things you might need to do for a transaction, you can do right from here in Uncat. And then when you click save, all of your updates are similarly going to sync into QuickBooks. And now that it's categorized, the transaction will disappear from your dashboard as well. A couple other quick things you can do in the dashboard, and then I'll take you into client settings, which will kind of explain how the app is working in terms of pulling in these transactions. So you can select a transaction. For example, let's take this Costco one, and we can come up here to the action menu and split it. So you can split transactions by account or by class. You can also select multiple transactions, in which case this becomes a bulk menu, and you can apply the same location or the same class to multiple transactions at a time. As you would expect, you can click on any column header and sort. So you can sort by line amount or by category or by class and see transactions grouped the way you want. You can also search. So if you just wanted to deal with the Amazon transactions first, for example, you could just see those here. The other thing I'll mention is that you can see all of your clients on one convenient dashboard. So rather than having 50 browser tabs open, one for each client to do end of month close, you can knock out your uncategorized transactions for the first client, scroll down, and knock them out for the second client, and so on. We typically show 10 clients per page. You can show more if you want to. You can also jump to a particular client using this menu at the top. So if you've got hundreds of clients in Uncat, it's really easy to go straight to the client you want to work on straight from there. In terms of client settings, this is where you can choose which accounts to sync with Uncat. So these are pretty typical accounts: uncategorized expense, income asset, ask my accountant, ask client. We see a lot of people using that. Suspense, especially for zero. But you can click in here and choose as many or as few accounts as you want to sync with Uncat. And that way, whenever transactions hit those accounts, we will bring them into Uncat and request that your client provides additional information. You can also sync transactions missing a certain field. So let's say they're already categorized and you're happy with that, but they are missing a class and you want to ask the client for class information. You could sync in all the transactions across QuickBooks that are missing a class so that you can get that information back from your client. In terms of how far back we sync, Uncat syncs back 3 months by default. So if you were to connect a client today, it'll do September, August, July, maybe even back to June. If you want to go back, let's say to the beginning of the year, 2023, and do some cleanup, it's a new client, you want to get caught up, you can choose that date here. It'll just do a one-time charge of $5 per additional month beyond that default 3 months. So super easy. People use Uncat for cleanups all the time when they get new clients. Also, we see a lot of binge of cleanups toward the end of the calendar year, the beginning of the next calendar year, so sort of cleaning up the previous year, which is typically coincides with the fiscal year for many companies, as well as right before tax time. It's a great time to come in and get things cleaned up with your clients. Notification settings. So we don't want to flood your clients with notifications. It'll drive them crazy. By default, we notify them weekly, and that tends to work the best. Monthly notification, oftentimes as a client, the client won't be able to provide information because they can't remember the transaction. Oh, that's 30 days ago. They've traveled 5 times already. No idea what that meal was about. But if it was last week, they have a really good chance of remembering what it was. So we send it out weekly. You can choose which day or days you want them to get notified. If it's a low volume client, you can choose a monthly notification. Or if it's super high volume, like an e-commerce company, you might even choose daily. We got some requests for that feature so that the client never gets behind. They can always keep it updated on a daily basis. So we'll send out that notification. Here are the dashboard settings. So I showed you the default where the client is being asked for description and optionally receipt. But you may have a client that's in QuickBooks with you all the time. They know their chart of accounts or they know how to assign classes, and you want to be able to ask them for that information. Just click this little toggle switch at the top, and it gives you total control over which fields are visible to your client, which fields are editable, and which ones are required. So in this new example, we're not only requiring a description, we're also requiring that they provide a class. And you can do this for each individual client. So for most of your clients, you might just want a description, but for a few, you might want them to provide a class. You can even require that they categorize their own transactions. So if they're comfortable with that, when they categorize, it'll sync into QuickBooks, but it'll also show up on your dashboard. So in case they made any errors, you can correct them and sync over the top into the GL. So those are client dashboard settings. And then lastly, here are a list of the client users you've invited. Here's the main admin user that can see all the transactions. Meanwhile, this client coworker that's been invited is only going to see uncategorized expenses from their credit card. So if the client has multiple users, each with their own credit card, those users should all be responsible for their own spending. If there's any uncategorized, you can assign them to just see the ones on their credit card versus seeing the entire company's uncategorized expenses. So you've got some options there. The main settings page is where you'll see a list of the clients that you've connected and a list of your coworkers. So if you have a team that you want to invite, you can add a coworker. And if you want to, you can assign particular clients to each user, or you can leave that blank, in which case the user can see all the clients in Uncat. It's totally up to you. This is where firm settings, you can upload your own logo. And this is where the name of your firm will go right up the top of the app. And you can customize the color of Uncat. So we've chosen kind of an orange color for this demo org because it's Jungle Cat Accounting. The default is an Uncat green that kind of matches these buttons. So that way, when a client arrives, they'll see your name, your logo, your company branding colors. They know they're in the right place, and they get a nice brand affiliation with what you've built. We've got a fun little self-certification program. Obviously, we love getting user reviews. So if you use Uncat and you love it, please do post a review. That's how many people find out about the app. And then billing, like I already mentioned, is really easy. It's just $5 a month per client file. That way, it's low cost for everybody, whether you're a small firm or a huge national or global firm. It just makes sense. The last thing I'll show, which is back in client settings. So from here, I'll jump back to the client settings in Tiger. And I want to mention this because it's such an effective feature. But under client users, not only can we send email notifications, we can also text message your clients alerts to notify them of uncategorized transactions. So here, this user is going to receive the email once a week, but they'll also at the same time receive a text message with the same information. So it'll say, you've got $8,900 in uncategorized transactions. Click here to go to your dashboard, and from their phone and their text message app, they can click that link. It'll open up Uncat in their mobile web browser, and they can tap in responses and upload receipts from their camera roll or from their phone files and click save. And that's a very popular thing for a lot of clients that aren't necessarily in front of a desktop or a laptop a lot at work. They might be on the shop floor or running a restaurant. And so getting that alert on their mobile phone and being able to quickly answer while they're working is a really effective way to get responses from a lot of clients. Plus, there's plenty of clients that just aren't using email very much anymore. May not be vital to their business. So meeting them where they are, sending them a quick text message on a weekly basis, making sure they're on top of their books so that you can be on top of their books for them, we found to be really, really effective. So thousands of people are using that feature. All right, I'll pause on the demo side there and jump back into the meeting to see if anybody has any questions, and I'd be happy to answer them. How often does Uncat sync to QBO? Pretty close to real time, Ashley. It's a great question. So QuickBooks Online uses technology called webhooks. So when something changes in QuickBooks and it's something that we're watching for, then it notifies us of the change and we can move that data right away. So by the time you click save in Uncat and go into QuickBooks and look at the transaction, it will be updated. Typically, by the time a transaction hits an account in QuickBooks, it'll be in Uncat right away. A matter of seconds, possibly. But in my experience, by the time you switch browser tabs, it's there. So the sync is very quick. It's a great question. I know we got a few more minutes. Any other questions about Uncat or about Forwardly for that matter? And we're all here online, happy to answer them. If you think of others after the fact, we're all very easy to reach. This is my email, just in case, and vice versa. So if an AP system is integrated, some transactions will be matched. Yeah, no worries, Ashley. It's a great question. And I'll also clarify, because I know for some firms, the historical workflow is if they have questions about transactions, they'll actually leave them in the bank feed. The bank feed's not accessible through the QuickBooks API. So we can't see what's in there, neither can any app for that matter. So the best workflow is those transactions from the bank feed that you have questions about, you can either manually or by rule put them in an uncategorized account that's set to sync with Uncat, and we'll pull them straight in, and that way the clients will get notified. and provide responses back to you. Yeah, you bet. Thanks for the questions. I appreciate it. So yeah, that's a good general rundown. So now, over the course of an hour, you know how to get paid in 20 seconds, which is really appealing, I think, to everybody. Who wants to not get paid in 20 seconds? Fantastic. With Forwardly, and for those clients that you have that may have some uncategorized transactions, and we find 90+% of clients have them. Sometimes you have a client that you've worked with for years and you know what they're buying and it's pretty straightforward. But for most clients, they are spending at Amazon. They are receiving payments through PayPal and Venmo. And so it's unclear what some of those transactions are. And those are just some popular examples, but your individual clients have businesses that do, that have vendors that are local that, you don't know who they are necessarily. And so getting that information back from clients, being able to close the books on time is super, super helpful. And so we hope that Uncat can be useful to you in your practice. And let us know if you have any questions following the webinar. We're happy to answer them.
And it's interesting because with our app, of course, like Forwardly has a cash flow forecasting section where we do rolling cash flow forecasts. And you can actually go in and see the chart of accounts where we have like unspecified transactions. And that happens all the time. We used to do demos with people who would say, why is my uncategorized transaction so high?
Right.
And we'd be like, well, the information can only be as good as what's in QuickBooks. So if you're not categorizing it, we can't forecast out accurately using your chart of accounts. That's just how it is,
Right.
So it's great to see a product like this that really has, not just functionality for, keeping from auditing and all that, but like you said, being able to actually budget out and guess and figure out how much money a business is going to have in the future. It's a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we found the same thing. We love talking with folks like you that are experts in analytics and reporting and other folks at QuickBooks Connect, because reporting is so vital and it's so dependent on the core data.
Exactly.
Right? If you throw bad data at a report, you're just going to get a report about bad data.
Yeah.
So having good data in there, you really have valuable financial reports, useful to you and your firm, but also mostly useful to your clients so they actually understand their business and outruns.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100%. All right. I know we're oh, go ahead, Jane.
I was just going to say, like, that's where the term garbage in, garbage out comes from, right? If you're putting garbage into the analytics, you're going to get garbage out, and don't do anything with it. It's garbage. That's the point.
100%. I know we've got about 90 seconds left, so we should do the giveaway.
All right.
I did a random selection.
You did one. I did one as well.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, if you want to use yours, feel free.
Yeah, Nick, are you sharing? Oh, perfect. Nick is using an old version. Hold on. I'm gonna steal the screen for a second because I just did that. Okay, I did a random selection, and congratulations, because it was actually somebody on the call. I did the whole list, and it was Bob Hannaberry.
Fantastic.
So
well, congratulations to Bob. Thanks for joining us, and now you've got an awesome new scanner.
Yeah, so Bob, I'll be reaching out to set up and get your information, pass it along, or I'll pass your information along to the ScanSnap, and they'll be in touch to follow up with you. But
love it.
So much for following along.
Congratulations, Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Well, super. Well, Jane, Nick, this has been a pleasure to present with you. We got to do it again, and in the meantime, we'll see you guys out in Vegas for QuickBooks Connect. We'll catch up there. And for everybody on the call, please do stop by our booths when you're out there, if you go out for the conference. And otherwise, check out both the apps. They're both super, super easy to get started with. So, there's some enterprise software that you really got to dedicate a lot of time to doing. Both Forwardly and Uncat are very easy to get up to speed with and just try out. Make sure you like it. And that's the best way to get started with software. So jump on the Forwardly site, go to Uncat, test out the software if you haven't used them already. And let us know how we can help.
Yeah, awesome.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
All right,
everybody. You got it. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.